Okay, cosine law notes. So again, the diagram at the top talks about opposite pairs. And the formula at the top we're going to get to. So we're going to remember that we use the cosine law if we have SSS or SAS. So let's draw a triangle. So let's draw a scalene triangle with with an angle of 50. Let's call it CBA. And we'll get a side length of 12 and 9. And let's look for opposite C. So we're going to write the formula down. So the formula is C squared equals A squared plus B squared. What does that look like? Pythag. Minus 2AB cos C. Remember, there's only one angle in the formula. That's the only angle in the formula. So let's substitute. So C squared equals A. What's A? Put an arrow from A across. 12 squared. B, put an arrow across from B, 9 plus 9 squared. I wrote 12 to the exponent positive. 12 squared plus 9 squared minus 2. A was 12. B was 9. Cos the angle 50. Now this one's easy because we can just type into the calculator the whole thing. 86.2. Square root both sides. C equals 9.3. Put an arrow to the diagram. Check your answer with the sine law or find another angle or whichever. That's cosine law. And we just type it in the calculator and square root both sides if we have one of the versions SAS. So that's SAS. Now let's do SSS. Our two versions of when we can use the cosine law. So a quick note at the top right-hand corner. It says in the notes, remember, find the smallest angle first and sometimes do 180 minus. I don't like that. I'm sorry. So this question, I actually don't do that. I don't find the smallest angle first, but it works out fine. So I'm yet to do the notes and whichever yet, but one day. So let's take a look at this. Now, let's say, for example, they gave you like Z, X, and Y, and you didn't like those letters. Well, cross them out. And remember the formula that you're using. There's only one angle in the formula. Let's write out the formula again. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cos C. We only have one angle in the formula, so that's the only angle we're looking for. That's theta. That's where Y is. I'm just going to put a C there, just for fun, and put an A down here and a B up here. I didn't do that in the notes, but it is correct still. So we can substitute now, but this time we know what C is. Opposite of C is 6. So 6 squared equals A squared, opposite of A, 4 squared, plus B squared, opposite of B, 3 squared, minus 2, A is 4, B is 3, cos theta, or C. Let's stick with C. So now we have to do the parts. 6 squared is 36. 4 squared is 16. 3 squared is 9. We can add those. 16 plus 9 is 25. Now negative 2 times 8 is negative 8. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. Cos C. And you may be thinking you can do this 25 minus 24, but no. You have to minus 25 from both sides. Therefore, 11 equals negative 24 cos C. Then we have to divide both sides by negative 24. Negative 24 over negative 24 is 1. Get rid of it. Mirror it. Cos C equals negative 11 over 24. And therefore, C equals cos inverse of. And this is where you're allowed to inverse a negative, where in the ASTC realm we shouldn't, but we're allowed to inverse a negative for cosine. And then we get the angle theta equals, C equals, 117, circle it, or 117.3, circle it, and put an arrow to where it was, and make sure it looks the same. So we've got all the English instructions off the right. We know when we're going to do it. If we have SAS or SSS, And SAS is pretty easy because we can type into a calculator, and SSS is way harder. And we're doing all sorts of word problems where you either have to identify one of these in a diagram or create it or whichever. So that's the cosine law. Again, on the website, you can obviously just substitute, draw two triangles. Draw two triangles and then cut it in half, separate them, do a bunch of SOHCAHTOA, or just use cosine law. So now let's do one more page just as a reminder. I'm going to bring it down below, excuse me. Nope. We're going to do that on the next section. So that's sine law and cosine law.